Okay, and this is video 5 of how to set up HoneyBook. Like I said, this is video 5 of a 5-part video series. If you haven't watched the first 4 videos, I'm going to tell you to pause this video and go back, start with video number 1. Each video actually builds on itself. This is a sequential guide to setting up HoneyBook for success. So I actually got this idea from a consultant friend of mine who has invested in HoneyBook and is super excited to streamline her sales process. Maybe this sounds familiar. She opened up the platform and thought, where the heck do I even start? So this video series is an answer to that big question. This is video number 5. And video 5 is all about automations. This is where the magic comes into place, people. HoneyBook is a CRM and a client management system in one, and it's a tech platform, which means we're going to be able to leverage automations. That means we can remove a ton of manual tasks off of your plate and increase our activity with leads and our engagement with our clients without having to live in front of our computer. So let me show you what this video is going to teach you today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Nicole. I am a systems strategist and a digital learning designer, and I help mama coaches and consultants scale their businesses with simple systems, dynamite digital programs, and accountability in community. If any one of those 3 things sounds exciting to you, or maybe like you want to learn a little bit more, check out the description below and you will see resources that will help you with each one of those components. Part number 5, automations. First thing I'm going to show you are the activation points in HoneyBook. Each platform actually has their own set of what can activate in automation. So I'm going to show you the 2 points of activations in HoneyBook. The second component is how to actually create an automation, how to tell HoneyBook exactly what to do, for whom, when. So how to set up the automation itself. The third component is then to activate the triggers. So you're going to know exactly how it's going to be automated and how to set up the starting component of it. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in, and I'm going to show you all the goodness of HoneyBook. Okay, we're going to start with activation points. There are 2 ways that an automation in HoneyBook can be triggered or activated. Before you dive in to start creating a wonderful automation to make sure that your clients are taken care of and served well without you living in front of your computer, is knowing what has to take place in order for that automation to start. The first one, and the one that I recommend most, is the lead forms or contact forms. These are one of the 2 ways that an automation can actually be triggered. So we want to make sure that when you're thinking of your client journey, your lead journey from the start, that they are starting with some kind of lead form or contact form, which can lay them or put them into a pathway for an automation, essentially automating their entire journey. So let me show you. Let's go to automations in tools and automations. So these are different automations, and you can see there's the 2 forms here that you can select which form is going to activate this automation. So if it's a lead form, you're going to do a drop-down menu and you can select the lead forms that you have set up. The second way is a contact form. And remember, I showed you in the previous video that a contact form can actually be associated with a specific project type. So for example, if I wanted to say, this automation is for clients who fill out a contact form for this project type, then it's going to trigger or activate this automation when they have filled out this form that's connected to this project type. There's also just a default contact form. So if we haven't decided, or the lead hasn't decided, or you haven't decided which project type that this lead needs, then they can just fill out a basic contact form. We still want them to fill out that form so that we can trigger other automations through that form. So again, the one of 2 different activation points for automations in HoneyBook are lead or contact forms. I'm using that as one activation point. The second activation point is within a specific project. So if I go inside of a client project, on the right-hand side of a project, there is a section for automations. So any project and any client, no matter if they filled out a lead or contact form or not, you can go ahead and go into their project, select automations, select the automation that you want to customize and apply, or you can just do a quick apply, which means you don't need to make any changes. You just want this activation. You want this automation to be activated. It does give you the option to customize and apply. So if I select that one, it's going to open up the automation and it's going to let you do any changes you need to this specific automation. Once it's ready to go, you can click apply to the project. So one is through a lead or contact form, which is automated, activated automatically. The other is a manual start to any automation you have created through applying it inside of a project. Okay, so those are the two ways that automations can actually get started. All right, let's dive into the second point of this video, which is how to actually set up and create your own automation. So you go to Tools and Automation, you'll land on this initial page here with a list of all your automations. Let's click on New Automation. And the first thing you want to do is name it so that you're aware of the purpose of this automation. So for example, let's do payment to onboarding. Okay, so my first action is, there's only 3 actions to initiate or work through an automation. The first one is to send them some kind of email, nothing attached. Next is to maybe create a task for yourself. Maybe you need to prep something and you want that task or the to-do item to pop up when an inquiry form, contact form has been created. Next is to send them a smart file. This is usually what happens. So you pre-create those smart file templates and it's ready to send out to a client based on, let's say, maybe a project type that they have chosen in that inquiry form or so forth. So for this automation, I am saying, okay, I want them to go into onboarding mode once they have made a payment. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to send them a smart file that has my onboarding steps and resources. So I'm going to click that. Then the next step is going to ask you to choose that smart file. So let's say it is, let's just click this one. Okay, so this is, we'll change this up here. Let's do a quick change here. Maybe this is offboarding. So offboarding automation, right? Okay, so this is when the project has ended and this is my offboarding sequence. So once I want to send them my end of contract happiness questionnaire, this is how I get testimonials, right? This is all completely automated for my business. So I want to send this smart file to my client at the end of the contract. So I'm going to send this via email. It's going to ask me what email template do I want to send it with. And I have an end of contract happiness questionnaire email already templatized. If I want to preview or edit that email, I can just click right in here, edit this email after I viewed it, change anything I need. You can see I used a smart field here to just populate that client's first name, giving them instructions and what this is about. And then I can use this email. Yep, that's going to work. Now I can dictate when this is going to happen. So I can say automation when the automation is activated, or I can say project end date, or I can say when the project is moved to completed. I want to point out some other actions that are available to dictate when an automation is happening. So, or an automation step. You can do file actions. So when a contract is signed, a questionnaire is submitted, smart file is completed, they hit that last submit button. All required signatures are signed on that contract. Or you can do when a payment is done. So a lot of times when I previously had payment to onboarding, I would trigger my onboarding smart file to be sent once that first payment has been made, which means they've retained my services and we can move forward. Maybe when the invoice is paid in full. Scheduler actions. So again, this is why I recommend to not use an external tool like Calendly to provide your availability and scheduling appointments, but instead use the scheduler tool that's inside of HoneyBook, because you can set automation steps based on scheduler action. So for example, when a certain type of session is scheduled, when a session starts, when a session ends. So when a session ends, you can automatically send something to that client. Okay. So again, these are dictating when this step is going to take place. So I'm going to say for this one, my offboarding automation, I'm going to say when a project end date happens. Okay. Now, the last step of completing this step in the automation is to toggle on this switch here that's going to require approval before sending. Because, my services are pretty productized, but they're not perfect. Sometimes, just working with other people, things come up and maybe this project date has actually adjusted or something changed, something I want to add to that happiness questionnaire. It's going to get my approval first before sending it to the client. That's all I want it to do, because I just want it to be reminded that, hey, this automation is going to go. This smart file is going to be sent. Is it ready? Yes or no. Let me go ahead and make some tweaks and then send it out. Okay, this is going to save you if you're worried about setting up automations that you don't know if it's going to work perfectly every time for every single client. Just toggle that on and it's going to ask for your approval before sending it out. All right, so that's one setup. Okay, so now at the end of my happiness questionnaire, I'm getting my testimonial. Actually, the next thing that I have them do is actually the last page on this happiness questionnaire is I actually ask them to schedule a video testimonial so we can have a quick chat. It can be recorded. They know it's recorded. They know what questions I'm going to ask on that quick 15-minute recorded meeting, so that I then have a video recording, social proof of a client testimonial and how well that went. And I can save it for my own archive, right? So that's the last step that's actually on the happiness questionnaire. But what I always do is I always schedule out a check-in with my clients like 6 months out from the project, just to check in because we've done work together, we've made a connection. Sometimes there's additional work that they actually ask me to do, or sometimes they can think of someone else that they've been talking to that actually would really need my services, something like that, right? Or maybe it's a check-in and maybe I need their services, or I know someone that needs their services, right? That's the world of consulting. So what I actually do to help myself with this is I add a second component of this automation, and this is going to be a regular email. So I'm going to click the regular email. This time I'll show you how to create a new email template. And this is going to be my how's it going email, right? And so here I can actually just start typing out what that check-in will look like. Hello again, right? Checking in with you. It's been a minute. Maybe I would sound a little more professional than that, right? But you get the gist, right? So just checking in with them like 6 months out. That's the goal. Let me know if there's anything I can do to support you. Okay. So, and then I would just do Nicole and maybe throw in my signature there so they remember who I am. And there we go, right? So I'm going to use that email template. I'm going to say, how's it going? This is my template name. So this is internal to me, 6 month check-in. Okay, so that's for me to recognize the name of that email template. So that's the email that's going out. And now I can dictate, this is going to go out after the previous step is complete. That's perfect. So what I'm going to say is weeks. And let's say 6 months out, that's going to be 24 weeks. after the previous step is completed, I'm going to ask for an approval before sending out. Maybe I've already connected with that client earlier than 6 months since our last project, and so I don't need this to go out, okay? But just an approval there. Okay, so do you see that is completely set up? At the end of a project, I will automatically be able to acquire a testimonial. I'll actually have a scheduled recorded video testimonial that is included in this questionnaire smart file. Then I also have a check-in email going out 6 months later to continue that relationship there, right? So once I have that set, okay, so I'm going to go back, that's saved. I'm going to go back to the list of automations. Here's my new automation. Now I have to set up how I want it to be triggered. Okay, so usually this is going to be based on a project type or an inquiry form that they've started. So I can say that I'll definitely want this for this project type, this project type, this project type, and this project type. Okay. And again, these project types are identified when you can select the project type inside of a project, but most likely the project type was already selected from the contact form. The contact form, I think I showed this in video 2. The contact form, you can assign a specific contact form for each project type, or you can create a more generic contact form that has a question on it that is linked to the project type. So they are selecting what project type that they are looking for. Okay, so based on if that client meets that condition, they've completed a contact form that is associated with any of these project types. When the project date ends, they will automatically get sent that offboarding smart file, and 6 months later, they will get a check-in email. Okay, so that is how to create your automation. And so the final component of this video was actually what I just showed you, setting the triggers, because a lot of my clients will go in, they'll create a new automation here, and then they will say it's not working. Well, usually it's because they forgot to go back, make sure that it is associated with a lead form or a contact form so the system knows when and to who the automation needs to be activated for. Okay, friends, we went over the activation points in HoneyBook, contact form, lead forms, or a manual start within a project, how to create an automation, and then making sure that you set the triggers of the automation using that lead form or contact form option. So I do want to point you to one of my favorite resources I've ever created. It's a mini course called Prep Your Perfect Prospects. There's a period of time in the lead management system or cycle that is really imperative to setting you up for success when it comes to sales. It's kind of this period of time when a lead has found you, right? They filled out like an inquiry form. They're excited to talk to you. They book a call with you. And then there's that lull between booking a call with you and actually speaking to you. It could be 1 day, it could be 1 week, it could be 2 weeks. But that is prime time real estate to get your prospect excited and prepped for that call to be productive. So I have built this Prep Your Perfect Prospects with HoneyBook. It's what to do and what to set up and ensure that your lead is actually excited to discuss solutions with you and is ready to actually make a decision when it comes to that sales call. Okay, so definitely grab this very affordable mini course. It's something I created based on my work doing one-on-one HoneyBook build outs and making sure that my clients find way more success on their sales call because their prospects have been prepped. Okay, and if you were thinking, Nicole, HoneyBook, this whole HoneyBook series, how to set up HoneyBook, right? 5 videos on how to set this up. You know, you went through it really fast, Nicole. It looks really good. It's exciting, but you know, there's still a little bit of a learning curve and you do not have the time capacity to dive into HoneyBook, learn all the intricacies and set it all up so that you have a streamlined sales system. I got you, girl. I have a done for you suite sales system that many of my consulting friends now have absolutely loved utilizing. It really makes the sales process about 90% hands off, because you have all the components there and a lead or client can just be led through the pipeline, through the system, beautifully designed templates, as I've shown you in the videos. And, there's a lot of automations in play. I'll tell you the truth. There's a lot of automations in play. Essentially, we design the client experience and then put all the components in place to make sure it's a great experience for them and then for you as well. So if you are interested in learning more about this sweet sales system with HoneyBook done for you, custom HoneyBook build out, check the description below. I have a link with a page that tells you all about it, who's it best for, and how to get started. All right, friends, I will see you in the next video. Make sure you are working towards every day, little by little, from a person-based business to a system-based business. Here's to turning that hustle into flow, and I'll see you in the next one.